Alrighty, welcome to the Mr. Miller's Woodshop Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Miller, and I do not have a sponsor this time, so I'm just going to get right to it. I'm currently sitting here. It's Friday afternoon. We're just wrapping up the day, and it's the end of our first week of school, and so I have got a ton of stuff to do, so this will probably be one of the shorter podcast episodes, but I'm just going to kind of give you some updates, talk about what I've got going on, what my classes are like, what it's like being back the first week of school. Pretty exciting, honestly, with all the contacts I made over the summer and all the connections and networking and whatnot. But overall, I'd say just being back in a school is so exciting for me. I'm just really blessed that I'm able to do this job, and I love seeing the kids. They come in a little fearfully excited, and their smiles are contagious, and a lot of them want to tell me how they helped their uncle's construction crew one time over the summer and show me pictures. And it's like, man, you didn't even tell me your name. Maybe we start with that. And it's really cool. I'm very fortunate that I get to do this. Other things kind of going on in my world. So it's really neat. At IWF, I got to sit with Will Sampson of the Woodworking Network, and we recorded a podcast that is live on the Woodworking Network's podcast with Will Sampson. You can search that Apple or Spotify and go track that down. It's nothing special or anything, but it's pretty neat. It's the first time I've gone on a podcast other than my own, and to give you guys a visual, I'm just hid in the lumber room of the school right now talking to my iPhone, which is a little bit less prestigious as what Will has got going on, but I think it's important. I think it's cool, and that connection right there is really kind of opening some other doors, which I'm grateful for. I'm so grateful that I got that opportunity, because it's opened some other doors. So it's in their magazine, it's on their website, the article that Will wrote up for me, and I'm so grateful for the kind words. I really feel undeserving a lot of times too, because I know a handful of excellent shop teachers that are ambitious, they're getting it done, and I feel like at times I don't quite measure up to them, and so I get these accolades, and I don't feel worthy at times, but it's nice to have those words written, and I'm just kind of just shocked by it all, honestly. My admin, our athletic director, approached me this morning and said that his neighbor was reading an article about me in a magazine, and he's part of it's Lindsay Machining or Lindsay Machinery out of Wisconsin, and I think he's a Wisconsinite too, and so his neighbor was like, hey, isn't that the school you teach at? And he's like, oh my God, I know him. And I'm not going to make a lot of noise about any of this stuff. I just kind of think it's important for the industry to hear. Education knows what's going on. They've got a lot bigger fish to fry, it seems, at time. So when I get noticed like that, it's kind of neat, but it's opening some other doors too. And so it's not about me. Nothing about this is about me. I'm excited because it's opening doors for my kids. So the AWFS convention that meets every other year in Las Vegas has reached out to me to share my method so that other teachers can have the similar kind of success that I've had in their programs. And I'm happy to do that. I'm shocked that they want me to. Mark Smith, the Woodworking Teacher of the Year 2024, reached out to me and asked to be on a panel, and then I met with their education people at AWFS, and it's all over the phone because this guy is in, I think, Anaheim, California is what he said. So this is pretty cool that it's stretching nationwide now. There are so many people on the East Coast that I talked to at IWF, and now it's come back to the other side of the states here, so that's kind of neat. And so I'm going to be on a panel with Mark. I'm also going to speak about utilizing social media to help promote your program. I don't feel qualified to do either, but I'm grateful to help, and if I can share something that helps someone, I'm grateful for it. It's nerve-wracking for me too, because I'll have to think about what that looks like for my own family. I'm leaving again I really don't want to do this more than once a year, so it'll be summers, and AWFS is in July, so that's pretty cool. I'm excited for that, and we're pondering the idea of my wife coming with me, and I really hope we can make that work. I don't know if I'll be working at Safety Speed next summer. I certainly hope that I do, because they really helped out, pitched in for things that I wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. And that's just kind of the sad reality of education. But I've also made my own choices too, and having 3 kids in the last 4 years was definitely a factor into my own financial station right now. But it's important work that I'm doing, I think, and it's helping a lot of people, and I've helped hundreds just in my own scope, and if it can go extra and be more in other schools and programs, I think that's where I'm called to next. So the AWFS is one. The MTEEA is a Minnesota offshoot of the ITEEA, and they do a show every year up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And I actually put in for my administrator to give me approval to go. There's a cost to go. I've never been, and it's kind of my mission here, bringing education and industry together, so it would be foolish for me to not go. It's adding up, though, quite a lot of days for me to be out of the classroom, which usually I would have really worried about. But last spring, I had a paternity leave that stretched between 2 trimesters. It was pretty sweet. I ended up, we had a baby on February 29th, and that's Leap Day, which is pretty unique. But also, my paternity leave was the last 2 weeks of the trimester, and I had spring break in there, and so I didn't get comped any of those days. That wasn't part of it. And I ended up basically taking the whole month of March off, which was so good for my family and enjoyable. Hard coming back, especially too because I essentially missed the first 10 days. And the first 10 days of any woodshop class is so important because that's your safety time. But having missed the last 2 weeks of the trimester and basically the first week and a half of the next trimester, my classes really weren't that affected. That first trimester class, I told them, like, hey, baby's coming at the end of the trimester, get your stuff done. And they did. And I changed some things up too to make it a little bit more easy for them to get their stuff done, and spoke less and shortened up cleanup times, and cut some corners as far as like what I usually do at my station and whatnot. But the quality of the work was fine. Students finished their projects, got this whole experience, and so it's adding up now. I'm going to be gone at least 5 days this trimester, and I think we'll be okay as far as the timeline. The kids will probably be upset, but some of those days too are tours that I'm taking kids on. The MTEA is during the school day too, so I'm not taking kids to that, but I just never been, so I want to go and see what is there. And what's really neat is I'm still friendly with all the people at Safety Speed. They are just an incredible company. And just this morning, I got an email from their president, Brian Donahue, asking me if I'm still interested in MTEA and if I want to come with them under their umbrella and get in that way. I'm welcome to it. He even offered to drive or let me join their carpool up there, because it's about an hour from where I live, and their facility is only a couple miles from my house. So he's like, if you want to join up, like, you can come along. And they're giving a presentation there and has offered some time for me to speak. I don't know if I will yet. I don't know if I have anything important to say up there on behalf of Safety Speed, or I want to go as a spectator first, but if I can help somebody, I'll definitely do it, even if I don't feel qualified, which is why I'm here and why you're listening to me now. So, AWFS, MTEA, all those letters are woodworking shows. There's also a woodworking show I'm excited, put on by the Minnesota Woodworkers Guild. It's also a free show, so I can get into that one for free, and it's pretty close to my house at the State Fairgrounds in Minnesota. So I might take my family to that too. I know my brother and dad want to go. They're woodworkers, and they're interested in what I want to do, or they're interested in woodworking, and they're interested in what I'm doing here. So I think they're excited to come with, and Maybe I'll bring my toddlers and baby. Who knows? That might change the outlook of how it gets accomplished that day. But that's about what I got going on. The reach here is turned into some other cool things too. So not just the article or the shows. A couple companies. One of them is a software company called Microvellum. I don't have any personal experience with them, and I'm really excited for this because the guy found me after listening to the podcast and noticing the stuff coming out of the Woodworking Network, that I've got passion for helping kids and meeting that need for the skills gap. And he says that's not the case everywhere, so they're selective on who they offer this to. And it's really the case too, because some of the folks who have donated to us have had some other people reach out saying, "Hey, I want one too." But it's what you're producing, and you may be producing a lot, but if you're not marketing your stuff, it's hard for anybody to know. And that's what I'm kind of learning from Mark Smith, Teacher of the Year last year. Just amazing guy and incredible program. And it's got to be part of your program is that you're marketing your stuff. And I'm pretty sure I've talked about it on here. I'm like Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, where I am so content to just hang out in the wood shop and do great stuff and not tell anybody about it. But then the only people I help are the ones that I have direct involvement with. And so that's where I'm kind of at right here. But Microvellum reached out. They want to donate software to us, and that is multiple thousands of dollars worth of software, especially to the students too. Software donations have come in before just to me, and I'm very grateful for all of it. But when you're offering it to students to use and your tech support and getting the instructor trained in, like that is that next level. And I'm grateful because I don't think it would have happened if I didn't put myself out there, didn't go to IWF, didn't work for Safety Speed, didn't start this podcast. And I just see so much fruit happening out of this. So that's exciting. It's also frustrating at times too, not having to do this, but choosing to do it, because it's taken away a little bit from what I have to do here as far as like get my classroom set up, get my safety tests finalized, and it's all still getting done. But I've mentioned on here too that I don't work past 3:00. I like teaching, partially because I'm helping people, but partially because I'm able to have a pretty good work-home life balance. And I've got young kids at home, so I'm a teacher for part of the day, but then majority of the day and all of the evening, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I think those jobs are more important than what I'm doing here. So that's where my effort goes when I head home, which I recommend for everybody. It might change too. It might in 20 years when kids are grown and gone and I am sad, I will have more time to do this kind of stuff. And working evenings, I work with a couple folks who are empty nesters, and it's no big deal for them to stay late because it's not much going on at home. But I get home and my kids just explode with excitement and meet me at the door, and so it's also that push-pull. Like, I'm excited for what I'm doing here, but my motivation changes pretty sharply at 3:00. So if you reach out ever after hours, like that's usually a good chance I'm not going to get back to you after their bedtime or the next day. But it's busy. The first week of school always is busy. And I'm in the biggest district in Minnesota, so we've got a lot of things kind of pushing and pulling us in different directions as far as professional development, as far as meetings and trainings, and they're all well-intentioned and good stuff. And I really love where I work. Coon Rapids High School is such a close-knit community. Our teachers here are supportive. A lot of them are long-time tenured, 20, 30 years plus, because it's a good place to work at and it's a great place to go to school. I'm also part of a pickleball club in the mornings that we meet here on Friday, and I played tennis in high school, so I enjoy pickleball, and it's a great way to meet other teachers. And I think it's important too, you invest a little bit into your community as a teacher. And the Pep Fest and morning welcomes and whatnot are kind of cheesy to involve yourself in, but I do. It's outside of my comfort, but it's a good thing to do. I think it helps connect with the kids. I'm able to learn the staff on a different wavelength, and it's just fun. I mean, I didn't have to come here in the morning and play pickleball, but some teachers here invited me, and so I came, and I beat them all. Not really. There's one guy here that is the longtime tennis coach, and he just dominates, and it's not even close. And I was all conference tennis player in high school not that long ago, and I can hardly even get a point against him, and he's twice my age. So I think schools are a good thing. Teaching is a good thing. A lot of folks in industry right now, if you're listening or if you're in sales and it's difficult, like a lot of the skill sets are pretty much the same as teaching. So a lot of people try to poach me and try to get me to leave teaching, but I'm going to make my effort right now to get you to leave your job, because just looking down the pike here, I've been here now it's my 4th year, 10th year in education. It stinks because I'm looking at a lot of these teachers that are looking at retirement or changing schools, and it's sad to see good teachers retire and go, and so I want good people to fill those shoes, and so I'm beat. I'm exhausted, so I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but I'm halfway through safety training, so I'm giving myself some grace in doing that. But like, look into education. If you're in the industry, like it's a great thing to do. The money might not be there, but it's good to give back, and like I make it work with single income and 3 kids and 2 acres on a 2-story and expensive neighborhood. Like it can work, and you just got to be willing to work summers and willing to put yourself out there, but it's doable. So leave industry, leave sales, and join education. Grass is way greener over here. But otherwise, we had some Pep Fest this week. I went through one day of just talking about the class and expectations, and we have a new phone policy that's really interesting here, because if you've listened to my podcast, my magic is using your phone as a tool in here, and now we're told to take them away. So I'm currently navigating that. I'm still going to use my method, and I'll suffer whatever repercussions happen, but it's a good thing across, in general, trying to get phones out of the hands of kids during classes. Mine, I've never had an issue because my kids have different tools, and when they see a QR code, they need the tool to scan the QR code, which is the smartphone in their pocket. So that is a little bit difficult, but managing that, we had not much time to prepare over workshop week, so I didn't have much time to make advancements or improvements in my classroom. It was basically just set that seating chart and grip it and rip it into the year, which is frustrating as a teacher, because on my first 10 days podcast, I told you guys to guard that time, to make sure you're there, but we just got inundated with meetings and trainings, and while a lot of them are good, we had a convocation speaker. I'm blanking on his name, but he spelled out for the whole district, biggest district in the state, thousands of people watching, dozens of administrators, and he said, like, stop thinking about college, start thinking about career. And I wanted to stand up and slow clap, but it was a televised deal. It was a YouTube unlisted video, so that it was fresh when we saw it, so we couldn't see it beforehand. It was pre-recorded, and so that would have been out of place. But I just couldn't believe how fortunate we are here at Anoka Hennepin. Like, the school board or whoever hired this guy paid a lot of money for him, but also they must have known what his message was to the counselors, to the college and career specialists, to the shop teachers, to the math teachers, to the elementary school teachers, to the middle school teachers, to the secondary, to the tech college associates that are here. Like, he put it all on the line, and I'm so sorry I'm forgetting his name, but I'll post it in the description what his links are, because it was cool. I've tried to contact him on LinkedIn since, but like I said, I'm pretty busy here, so I didn't get to it, but that was cool. It was 2 hours, and the pre and post meeting, we had to handle some important topics in the school. So it essentially turned into 3 hours, and then discussions after that with our department. So it's like, it's half a day. We had a full day training, full day offsite, and so basically it was a day and a half in our rooms, which is not enough for me anyway to get the machines running. I am fortunate enough, though, that I have a volunteer who basically works here full time. Okay, he's here as much as I am here. Sometimes he beats me here because he's excited. He's a retired community member. His name is Kurt. Kids love him. He's good with kids, and even better, he's good with saws, and he knows how to fix them. And we had tons of people in here over the summer, lots of shop teachers that are listening. You probably get it, where people are in here over the summer and wreck your stuff and break it and don't put it back in the right spot. I do my best to disable the machines, but for instance, I had my first day, we walk around the room and I show them kind of just the general layout and let them kind of stretch their legs while I'm boring them to death with my expectations presentation. And I'm looking at the bandsaw, and I kind of double blink, like, what is missing here? And the blade is gone. And I open it up, and someone had been cutting metal on it over the summer. And I have a good idea of who it was, so I'm not too upset because I've got a good relationship with everyone here. But when you break something, at least tell me, like, hey, you're not going to have the bandsaw when you need it. And I'm fortunate because I've got this retired community member. He looked at it, too, at that moment, and he's like, I can take a look at that. And so while I've been giving out the safety tests or teaching graphic design down the hall in the computer lab, he's been in trying to figure it out. There's some other things that need some work on it, and so he's paying that attention to it. And I wouldn't be able to get to it in the amount of time that I have. A lot of folks would just stay late and get her done. That's been the recommendation to me by my admin and by my department, but I'm not doing that because of the reasons I've said before. So when I've got someone that's willing to come in and do that, I am so grateful. And if you're a retired person, or if you're someone who works a 4-day week, or whatever time you have, if you can give back to any program local to you, you don't have to drive 6 hours to Coon Rapids to help me, local to you. Okay, I guarantee you somewhere around you they've got a wood shop. That woodshop teacher is busy right now, and I usually post these episodes on Monday morning for people to just enjoy their week, but I'm going to post this one live just so that anyone who does listen, like, go help your shop teachers. Get connected with them. It always helps to show up on site because I've probably gotten 1,000 emails over the past week, and I've read probably 100 of them. Because sometimes it's like, oh, it's this club, can you donate? It's this organization, are you interested in seeing what we have to offer? And it's just, it's crazy. I was looking for the schedule for today because it went out an email a couple weeks ago, and it takes me like 2 minutes to find this, and it's just crazy because it's over email, and I'm not a good email manager of deleting things. I never delete my email, so maybe that's on me. That's my professional development thing, but 1 weekend is crazy in a school. It's so excited. Luckily, I love what I do, so the energy carries me through, but it has been a crazy week. And then you top on that, performing to get the kids to understand the machines. I do this silly thing where I pretend I'm the new kid. I'm Bobby, and now you got to teach me the table saw after I walk out of the room. And it's silly, but it really gets the kids thinking and working and laughing and understanding, most importantly, because I pretend like I don't know anything, and they have to tell me how to use the table saw. And it's even better when the kids are trying to be funny and they'll tell me to do something dangerous, and then they laugh. And that shows me, like, okay, they know the right answer. They're just trying to be funny and, pal around with their buddies. Like, they're understanding it, is what that shows me. That's my formative assessment right there, that they have understood the content I've delivered. For you admin people that are listening. But I'm excited. We're halfway through safety training, and that's where I really do my heavy lifting work. Once we get through safety training, then my classes get going on their projects. my workload drops off significantly because by that time the lumber will be here. The kids will be working. I'll have maybe 2 minutes of brilliance to share with them before the hour begins or before work time begins. And then for about 60 minutes, my kids will be working on their projects nonstop. So I see light at the end of the tunnel. I hope you do too. I hope you reach out to your local wood shops. And if you are a wood shop teacher or admin, reach out to industry, see what is available. I didn't even talk. I'm working on 2 tours right now for the end of the year until Christmas break, because I want to load these up, especially before registration time, so that kids get an experience of actually setting foot on some of these plants and just coordinating that. And being in a big district, figuring out the logistics of that can be tricky, and personalities and politics and who's going to be where and what's going to happen here and will the bus work out. It's a lot of fun. I love what I do. I'm just rambling at this point, but if you want, please reach out on LinkedIn, on Instagram, rate and review this podcast, follow me, email me, stalk me, whatever I can do to help. I'm here to help. Thanks for listening.